Greetings. This will be part 2. This is a follow-up from yesterday's prerequisite for the 1111 energetic portals that are being opened today. There's something really significant while I was doing pre-channeling. I thought about this reading a lot. If I should have a theme, if I should try to take it a specific direction, the answer is no. The only thing I am supposed to mention for some odd reason is that this is the last year that, like, we only have, I don't know, another month and some change. This is the last year that will be the case. There's something about, like, the changes that need to happen by the end of this year are going to be really critical and crucial in whatever comes next. Yes. So stay mindful just came out in the reverse, meaning that's what I mean. We've only got a little bit more into some change. It's like we don't have that much more time to think about things. Right now is a good time to start trying to change your mindset about anything that you want to change for the next year. I don't do New Year's resolutions because I don't need a new year to make a resolution. Yes, here's thanking you. Just came out. This is literally what I mean. I start thanking yourself. Start thanking the people, places, and things around you that you appreciate. Start doing something that's going to appreciate your own self-worth, with yourself, within yourself, outside of yourself, however you want to do it. There's just something about, by the end of this year, you need to have said what you need to have said in order for the energy to be set correctly for the next. Yeah, just breathe. Okay. This is planting seeds. This is those seeds growing. This is coming from a place of gratitude. So rather than trying to be mindful or like hyper aware, hyper focused on everything around you, focus. It's almost like you already took if you do make New Year's resolutions, make one now, early this year. I don't know why, but this is also coming through. It's like when retailers have sales after, look, take a breath. This is just breathe and take a breath coming out. Half this read is about being mindful and remaining thankful. The other half is about taking a seed and growing it into something much bigger. But if you with agriculture, there's literal seasons that you have to plant things in order for them to grow optimally. Make this that season for yourself. Reclaim it. For some people, 1111 portal has not been something that's been available to them before. It's never been something that they've been able to feel proud of, that they've been able to take ownership of that spiritual aspect of themselves. If that's something that you're interested in, right now is a great time to do it. It says, unfortunately for us, most adults take short, shallow breaths from the chest. However, deep breathing interrupts the body's stress response and releases endorphins into the body. So that's what I mean. There's also something about it's something about the new year. It's like this is the baby that has now gotten to a specific age, and next year is going to be like that first year it's the second year, but it's the first year of life. After 1 year of living is your first birthday. So this is the first year of living from birth to the first year, right? And then this is going to be that next step. I don't mean literally as, I'm just talking about how at the new year, oftentimes people want to envision or picture the older generation year, or the older year that's just passed, replacing or passing the baton to the younger generation. This is opposite in a weird way. This is like the kids are going to need to take the lead. This is understanding that adults are already set in their way, that they've been taught certain agricultural means, messages, timing, seasons, reasons, forever, to do something, anything, right? This is going to be important in setting up the prerequisite for next year is starting now. So from now until the end of this year, you will have a 111 portal on the 11th of January. So it's going to be a 1111 portal right now, November 2025. And by 111 2026, we'll have another portal. So it's kind of the countdown. I'm also seeing an hourglass. The middle of an hourglass is significant. It's almost like if you were to turn the hourglass, rather than it being vertical, watching the sand drop, if you were to just turn it sideways and sit it on the table. Okay. This is the point, that 0 point focus. All of us are going to squeeze through that portal and come out the other side. What happens while you're going through that is unknown to us. It's kind of like if we were going through a black hole, right? You don't know what's going to roll out of the other side of that. You just hope it has some type of planetary alignment with our, our need for water and a place to grow some agriculture. It's like a brand new mindset. It's a brand new world. It's a brand new life that you could birth for yourself. Yeah, here's decisions coming out in reverse. This breathing isn't just a decision that we're going to do. When you plant trees, you're helping the earth breathe. You're helping the actual planet itself breathe. It uses the carbon dioxide that we excrete, that we breathe out, that we exhale, and it turns it straight back into oxygen for us. This is the recycling. This is the cycle, the wash, rinse, repeat cycle that we always go through every year. This is, that's perfect. We've been doing great, right? But if we want to continue to improve as a species or as a people, yeah, there's new beginnings. That's what I mean. These new beginnings that are starting now are not going to be a decision in the future. You think, there's the competition between the baby and in this case, the baby and, the baby and the older generation. In a weird way, we kind of need to unlearn everything that we've already learned. That's needing to have adults realize that although they've done a great job putting food on the table, instead of having genetically modified foods and vegetables, fruits, all that kind of good stuff, maybe we just need to think about what kind of competition we're having with ourselves. Competition is number 17, by the way, and there are two individuals standing on what looks like a chessboard, which is ironic since it's talking about breathing and chest breathing in specific. They're playing tug of war. I'm hearing Jack Harlow, Warsaw Coming, and it's interesting because this is new life coming out right underneath it with grace right beneath that. So this competition is going to be for a graceful new life, which was the point of this reading. Competition isn't my favorite. It's not horrible though. It's just some people enjoy competition. Some people are good at friendly competition. Some people are not so good at friendly competition or competition in general. So the point here is that this new beginning is a door. You see it's a door, is a Dora. Okay. We're going to kind of be dunked underwater for a moment and then come back out gasping for breath, but also renewed. Right? This is not a baptism either. I don't want that imagery in here. I don't want it in this reading because it has nothing to do with religion. This is literally about washing off the things, taking a moment to look at the cycles, washing off the things that weren't working and finding a more efficient way to make things happen. We need to make things happen more efficiently. Not just individually, but as a people. So sometimes you just gotta sit down and have a conversation with a 6-year-old. Sometimes what they say is some profound information that an adult had probably forgotten they knew. It isn't taking anything away from what has been. It is taking something towards. It's bringing something to offer. Instead of arriving at a dinner party where everything is provided for you, this is the part where you start doing the potluck work. Okay, the potluck work includes you needing a recipe. You need to have something sweet. That's the only parameter you were maybe given. You're responsible for desserts. Okay, that's the task at hand here. So we're trying to get to this place of feeling a new type of grace that we've never felt before. I'm gonna let the cards do some talking because I feel oddly like I'm about to go hoarse. Okay, that's what I mean. This new beginning with a graceful approach to things is a gift. And it's one that you have to go get for yourself. No one else can go to the store really quick and grab it for you. Okay? It's not a secret, it's right here. If your intentions are to give yourself the gift, maybe it's your abilities. This is going to be the next year is going to be the year that, like, every single day, new level unlocked, new gift unlocked. I just accidentally, oh, there's mad love to be had here. This is the love card, lovers. The secret gift of being a loving human being, of experiencing love and giving and receiving love is something that's going to be really important. I don't know why this is also coming to mind, but I guess this also represents Gemini a little bit. Um, when you're talking about a moon, right? This is the world, here's a moon. When you're talking about something that orbits another, I also think it's really important to understand the boundaries. I'll just give an example. If you were ever like abused or mistreated or in some way belittled, doubted, triggered by specific things, those are now things that you're allowed to say, I'm no longer willing to participate. It doesn't mean those things aren't going to happen. That's what I'm trying to say. It just means rather than them happening and you just kind of having to go along with whatever competition it is that other people think they're having, this is a personal quest. And you are welcome to unground yourself whenever you feel like it. Okay? You don't have to stay rooted or grounded in things that don't feel good. You can make some new boundaries and firmly root them. Okay? Make sure those are the seeds that end up growing, not the ones where you're being taken advantage of, hurt. I mean, God forbid physically hit or something like that, but that's the energy. It's kind of like you need to ground your new intentionals now. Okay? So they cannot and will not follow you into the next portion of life. Which between this 1111 portal and the 111 portal may need to be a little bit bass backwards during that time frame only. I'm just also seeing someone setting it's like the clock is starting in a different way. It's almost like it's going backwards. So now we're going to watch the sand go up rather than raining down. Okay? That's the energy that's coming through. It's going to give you some breathing room. It's going to give you some space. And it's no longer a choice. It's now, it's now or never. If you want to plant a rainforest, since we're talking about raining down and, beaming up. If you want to plant a rainforest, you don't plant the rainforest 1 year and then 1 year later the whole thing is grown. Okay? It takes hundreds, maybe couple hundreds of years for those trees to get as big as they are. for the great elms to grow, thousands of years. This is a process, but starting now gives us a better chance, and our children and our children's children a better chance at being able to breathe deeply, breathe easily. And it's not such a choice. When you think about like the price of groceries right now, it's not a secret. It's really very expensive. It's almost like if you gift people food, that's a really good gift because it's really expensive right now, right? Well, imagine if you could just grow all of your own food for your own family, or at least the produce section. So all you've got to purchase is like dairy and meat, if that's something that you want, condiments. You don't have to buy anything in a jar. You don't have to buy anything in a can. Okay, that's what I mean by genetically modified foods, the way that we're consuming things, what it is that we're replanting, instead of having to just automatically, yes, everything's coming with us from this, where everything's coming with us from this last. We don't need that. So I don't know why I'm hearing when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. That's the similar thing here. When you plant your seeds correctly and they're planted well, once the seasons change, you're going to have a tree. You're going to have a plant. You're going to have produce. You're going to have resources that you are able to gift yourself. Because under the light of the moon, you were able to make something that you continue to pour into. You usually think about pouring into something. I don't know why I'm hearing Rihanna today, but it's I'm poured up. I'm telling you, there's something about the water moving uphill, or like it's almost like there's an opportunity for us to reset, and that might just be emotionally even, okay? But there is something about this being thankful and full of the things that we love. So rather than focusing so much on the things we don't love, time to start looking at things that you do love. Because those things are in the future going to need to be, look, there's the spiritual waters that are being earthed or grounded into the earth, okay? It's a transformation. I'm not going to pull that card because it's the death card, but that death card also in this specific deck and scenario just means transformation. It's a change. It's a shift. It's a movement by itself. No, just kidding. Well, I'm not, but I'm serious. Like this is be thankful for the things you've already gotten, for the things that you've got currently, and for the things that you will give or get in the future. Just do that by itself and watch the way that those spiritual seeds grow. They're going to thrive in a way that I don't think a lot of people really even understand as part of your health, as part of your spiritual understanding. It's letting go of things that, some seeds, I'll just tell you this about gardening. Some seeds are female and some seeds are male. And some can just, basically crossbreed with themselves. Same thing with some animals. There are fishes that can turn from one gender to another just in order to reproduce. And then they go back to their original gender again. I'm in no way suggesting that that's what we should be striving for in society. I'm saying that that type of adaptability and flexibility, that kind of commitment to continuing their species, no matter what it is that they've got to do in the meantime and between time to make that happen, that's the same vitality that I think is I'm talking about here. It's the difference between being able to take a breath versus just breathing. You can breathe and it can be shallow, like this card was telling you. If you want to create a universe or a planet for yourself where there are no stars, don't birth a star. You know, the shallow star is born kind of thing kind of went through my head. But it's the beginning of one thing and a transition to another. Okay? They could be either way. It doesn't really matter. This seed has the capacity for that. You have to find the right seed for yourself. Some seeds don't ever actually make it above the surface of the soil. Others tower. Okay? So at this 11:11 moment, while things are towering over us on this earth, I think that we should just take a deep breath, take into account what it is that we want, and make that the truth that we stand on. It's the foundational understanding that's necessary for us to take a step forward, even if we fall or take a couple steps back in the meantime. That's all right. No baby, well, actually, some babies do just get up and start walking and they never fall down. But, not very many. That's not normal. That's the exception, not the rule. I was thinking about Cider House Rules earlier this morning too. I don't know. I've actually not watched that movie in years, and I don't even remember what it's about. But I do know that there's agricultural growth. They're making Cider House Rules, right? Here comes more of this. It's more of this energy of needing, yes, water your blessings and your gifts, and they will not die. There will be no end to them. It is literally something that is going to continue. Spiritual knowledge is something that was, in my personal belief, possibly intentionally removed. For one reason or another, I think it's easier to control the psyche of a mass of people once you've amassed a certain amount of power and control. So when you scare people to death, when you go to the airport and you're like, I'm about to get on a 7-hour flight, right? Or it's over 5 hours long, in the air for long enough for something to happen, right? It doesn't really comfort anybody. And nobody, I don't think anybody in the whole airport is comforted when you're standing in line and you hear the threat level go from like yellow to orange or orange to red. It's alarming. It makes the security guards want to frisk you harder, faster, more so than they would otherwise. It puts everyone on edge. Nobody feels comfortable. That's what we're getting rid of. It's not to say that there won't be threats, but it just means that maybe we don't need a reminder every 5 minutes while we're standing in the security line of what the threat level is for that day. Maybe it could just be posted on a board somewhere. And if you're worried about it, go take a look. And until it hits like the maximum level of, like urgency or critical levels that are going to affect people's vitality, like we're about to, DEFCON, blah, like maybe don't. That's kind of what this is. Then all of us could experience a quick, no lines, less security necessary, a lot less anxiety. Okay. That's what we're moving towards. But before we can do that, people need to understand that they have to live and let live. I can't tell you how many times people have stopped me in the airport just for wearing a head wrap, and I'm not even Muslim or Islamic. Doesn't mean I don't have family members that are. Doesn't mean that I don't know people who are. It means that for me, this was a fashion choice that had everything to do with me not wanting to put my hair in a ponytail right now. When this has to be something that's scary to go into or move towards, then everybody looks at one tiny little piece of jewelry or one tiny fashion choice and make huge blanketing just overriding decisions that don't serve anybody really. Then they feel on high alert because I'm wearing something that they don't recognize, that they're not familiar with, and that people who they perceive as a threat may be coming through. My mom actually has a friend, or at least, a family friend or whatever, that told her I can't, like, I would be scared to go through, like, if you want to see how racist or how uncomfortable things can really get for people, try going through that. She was just joking, but it was really valid. She was like, try going through the airport with a hijab on. This is not a hijab, by the way. This is just a head wrap. I'm talking about try going with an actual hijab through the security at the airport and see how comfortable you are, or just to the airport in general. Get the looks from people and the stares. You think they're looking at you now? Oh my God. Okay, you get the point. We're not taking that kind of stuff forward though. So rather than going to the airport and thinking, oh, this is going to be a horrible situation or whatever, maybe just listen to music. So you can't hear it. Can't hear. That's that sweet music that we were talking about. Maybe you listen to music. Take some really nice essential oils for you to smell to keep aromatherapy. I don't know why this like Lady Gaga imagery is coming through, but I'm also hearing Rom Roma only because I said the word aroma. I don't have any clue. Maybe it'll okay. It's the courage to love people who are not of your same ilk. Okay? Take a deep breath. Do not This is supposed to be courageous love. Maybe you're at a train station instead on platform 9 3/4 instead of at the airport. I don't know. The point here is that you must learn to live and let live. As soon as you try to remain ungrateful for the love that you do have, that's the moment that you lose your courage and everything becomes scary. It's okay for things to be scary. It's not okay for it to stop you from doing it. Check your facts, make sure you're, well informed before you do anything specific. But being scared is okay. Letting it stop you from doing whatever it is that you need to do because of it is not. You don't have to love your courage, but you will love yourself once you decide to have courage to do something new, something different than what has already been done. That's the only way we make one small step for man, or yeah, whatever that saying is. I don't even have that committed to memory. It's one huge step for mankind. It's one man that took one step on the moon, but that affected the reality of an entire planet. One huge step for mankind. I'm just going to say humankind because, yeah, it's about to be 2026. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Let's just reset what we want, what we can, so that things are not as jarring for our systems, for our livelihoods, or for our planet. When we stop abusing the planet, we have more trees. Breathe a lot easier. It's just like that. I could repeat the message 1,000 times, but it's already here. That's the message. I don't know that I need to continue expanding. I guess I'll use Nadia Turner Forest Fae deck to get some advice here. Yeah, so this decision card in the reverse is here at the top with, like, we're not gonna have an option about getting this message eventually. It's just gonna be something that we're gonna need to breathe through. And I am largely getting this, like, waiting to exhale. Christmas or Christmas Day is on the 25th. The 26th is the day after Christmas. So this is the 2025. Starting next year, we'll never be in this year again. What is the information that we need to know? Would the Fae please provide? This is interesting. This Green Witch came out yesterday while I was doing the prerequisite reading as well. In the upright also. This is the Fairy Harper that came out with it. Oh gosh, there's something about the weather. It's like we're going to need to harp on something that has to do with these blessings being able to access our planet almost, or it's almost like a higher level consciousness. If humanity is to ascend, go through the ascension rather than remain in it, we're going to need to pay attention to things like having a green thumb or Midas touch. That came out in the reading yesterday too. I'm just really hearing like the planet is trying to send a message. The whole earth. Oh my God, I'm getting hoarse. That's what I'm saying. Is there something like someone's going to have to harp on it? Yeah, there's going to be a presence. I'm just thinking of that gift. There's like a presence that's trying to almost comfort the planet or help us breathe, help us to feel safe or safe and sound. Wow, that's what I'm getting, safe and sound. And it's been unable to break through. It's almost like the ozone layer. It's been like an ounce of flesh for an ounce of flesh, an eye for an eye. That needs to stop. There doesn't need to be any Hunger Games. There doesn't need to be Gandhi starvation of people. We don't need to revolt against things like that. Maybe bartering or getting to know your neighbor so that if something happens, hopefully you've got a friendly enough neighbor that they would drop food for you or help you carry your food upstairs. Again, with that whole time thing, it's time for, I'm now seeing this is the hourglass on its side. This is the hourglass one way, that's the hourglass another way. I'm telling you, there's something about like this is maybe like too far down the conspiracy rabbit hole, but you know how they talk about Nibiru, this planet that just is out there kind of hiding behind the sun or whatever. That's the energy I'm getting here too. It's like this Green Witch is not a decision. It says, connect to the spirits and energy of your local landscape. Seek enchantment. I'm now seeing Ella Enchanted from the Enchanted Forest. Literally becoming unenchanted. remember at the end of the movie, she's no longer enchanted, so she can make her own decisions. It's like the end of some binding cycle or some type of like we've been asleep in a tomb and we're now waking up. There's something that's like it's almost a yeah. The Stay Mindful had come out with the thankful card. It's almost as though if you experience giving thanks, it is the one thing that is the message of love. I guess for Ella Enchanted, it was that kiss. And it started the whole relationship growing, but it also broke the enchantment spell. Once you get that one kiss, I'm hearing Dua Lipa, one kiss is all it takes. That's what this is here. It's like there's going to be a moment where we need to kind of get it, that people are not going to stay asleep. They're not going to continue to be enchanted or kind of just walking through a marathon of life, just obeying and never revolting against anything. I think people are going to wake up next year. A large portion, or at least a brand new wave of people who, and I'm talking about wave as in like emotion, spiritual waters, the ebb and flow of the tide on the beach. I'm talking, I like long walks on the beach. Okay. There's some love here that could be coming through, but has not been able to listen. You can't rush a butterfly. Okay. You can yell at the caterpillar all you want to. You can hit the chrysalis while it's there. You might kill the whole thing. You cannot squeeze a butterfly. In every single stage that it is developing, it's very delicate. There's something about that. Yeah, look, Forest Sister, the moon shines brightest after the storm. This actually was here with the message. You could have a sibling. Look, Away We Fly. You could have a sibling that is really good with gardening or really good at just kind of has the Midas touch or the green thumb or whatever, however you want to look at it. It's something about that takeoff energy in the airport. It's almost like you need to be able to set that kind of mental boundaries with people over the holiday. If there are people that you really want to see, make sure you prioritize that. If there's time that you want to spend by yourself, make sure you really prioritize that. If there are activities that you want to, I always have like, half a project done somewhere just laying around. If you want to finish those projects, work on them. That's what I mean. It doesn't have to be this huge groundbreaking moment, but it does need to have kind of like this before and after. Inhale, exhale, kind of here's the old paths. This also came out yesterday. And for some reason I'm just feeling like this goes with that. Instead of just breathing, to be really shallow or really irregularly. Some people need breathing machines when they sleep. CPAP machines when they sleep, or pacemakers in their heart to, shock them back awake again. This is about relearning our autonomic, which is our automatic system, in a way that's going to allow for us to reach towards the heavens rather than staying individually. Have you ever seen those dandelions? You blow them and all the spores or the seeds take off, and they've got the little umbrella. It looks like it's like an inside out umbrella. That's what I'm seeing here, is like tons of them. It takes a minute for them to find a place to settle down, to take root, to push their head above the soil. But it is an upward push toward the heavens. It's towards the light. It's towards this message that's coming through about not being so shallow. This could be literally a perspective. Maybe you're just kind of materialistic or don't really look at people beyond what they present themselves as on the outside. It's a perfect example of going through the airport with a hijab on, with a yarmulke on, with anything that is in any way different from what your standard American family with a mom and a dad and a boy and a girl and a cat and a dog and a white fence. Like anything outside of that, if it's looked at as crazy or out of the blue or out of the sorts or out of left field, maybe we need to stop looking at things in that way. That's the old paths, which can tell us something, but also we've been cutting our trees down. Just thinking about Nell, that movie Nell about the lady who grew up in the forest, didn't even know language. She didn't have the words to give the message. This is about learning the roots of somebody, where something originated from. What do the seeds of your family look like? Where did you originate? Let's learn those things so that we don't have to repeat history. Let's learn those things so that when we do repeat history, we only repeat the good parts, the parts that have been nourishing, that have helped to bolster a spiritual, emotional, psychological meaning in our lives that doesn't have to be cruel. Because meaning doesn't only have, nice and mean. Are you mean or are you nice? No, you can also have a lot of meaning behind something. That's what sentiment is. The meaning behind your actions, words, all that, that's your intentions. The old paths can lead you. I'm seeing the eyes. This is really interesting. The eye around her neck is the same color and coloring. If you can see that eye right there on her necklace. And then look at the eyes on the message. The old paths will lead you to the correct outcome, but not always to the end of the opportunity. I'll give you an example. You might be a soccer mom. Let's just use that as an example. You can drive your children to the soccer game. You're the one, you're the old, you're the elder, you're the adult. You're going to drive them to their soccer game. The message is they're the ones that are going to be breathing hard, working out, running up and down the field. They're the ones that are going to learn soccer. So you brought them this far. They need to learn for themselves, which is why I'm saying this is a solo, dolo kind of journey. Once they are done learning, they either go on to become a teacher themselves or a coach themselves, soccer player themselves, or they get picked up at the end of the soccer practice when they're done learning for that specific day. See how that time frame matters? But that also in the grand scheme of things, no, it doesn't. Your parents are the ones that brought you up to this point. But after age 18, the rest of the responsibility is on you. That's not really necessarily true. And maybe that's something that Americans need to work on, because that's not all over the world. Some places, they continue to support each other as family, living together, dining together on Sundays. I don't know, like there's tradition. Whatever that looks like for you, other people don't have a right to make an assumption about it unless it's harmful, hurtful, or damaging. Yeah, this is what I mean. This forest sister keeps coming out on top of this. So it's like the message is going to be passed to the younger generations, which is what I meant by, although usually the new year is represented by the old, out with the old, in with the new. I feel like it's out with the new, in with the old. We need to look at it from all four perspectives. Maybe it's just out with the out, old with the new. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say. Everyone's going to have a different message, and that's why it's an individual journey to find what you're committed to find what it is that you want to commit to find out how to move from the old paths and shift towards where the moon shines brightest after the storm. This is the North Wood Fae. I do feel like there's a northern star involved somewhere here. Take time for hibernation and healing. And that's what this holiday solstice kind of period is. There's something so significant between 3 and 4, or this 4 ones and 3 ones, or whatever, 11/11 portal and the January 1st, January 11th. Anyway, I'm going to leave this message as it is. Oh, wonderful 11/11. Happy healing. Have such a great day. I'll be back maybe later today, maybe not, to do some more monthlies. Or maybe I'll just do a collective since it is still the 11/11. Yes, for us all.